Remember when summer lasted forever? When a single school year felt like a decade? That wasn't your imagination. A year, when you were 8 years old, genuinely felt 5 times longer than a year feels now. And scientists know exactly why. Here's the uncomfortable part. By the time you turned 18, you had already experienced, subjectively, more than half of your entire life. Not half your years. Half your felt time. The rest of your life will seem to pass in the remaining half. Let me explain. Your brain doesn't have a clock. It has something stranger, a memory counter. You don't feel time passing. You feel how many new memories got written down. More new memories equals a longer feeling stretch of time. When you were a kid, everything was new. First bike. First snow. First betrayal by a vending machine. Your brain was recording constantly, like a camera that never turned off. Thousands of dense, detailed memories per year. Now think about last Tuesday. Can you remember anything about it? Anything at all? Probably not. Because your adult brain looked at last Tuesday and said, "Seen it. Skip." This is called the reminiscence bump problem in reverse. Your brain compresses repeated experiences into a single file. 500 nearly identical commutes become one memory labeled the commute. 10 years of them take up less mental space than one childhood summer. And when your brain looks back and sees fewer files, it reaches a terrifying conclusion. That must have been quick. There's math for this. In 1897, a scientist named Paul Janet proposed that we perceive each year as a fraction of all the years we've lived. To a 1-year-old, 1 year is 100% of existence. An eternity. To a 50-year-old, that same year is 2%. A rounding error. Run the numbers, and something dark falls out of the equation. Subjectively, life is half over by age 18, and roughly 3/4 over by 35. If you're over 30 and it feels like the last decade evaporated, that's not a feeling. That's the math working exactly as predicted. But there's a second mechanism, and it's stranger. Your brain physically slows down its recording speed as you age. Neural signals travel through longer, more degraded pathways. A neuroscientist at Duke University, Adrian Bejan, argues that we literally capture fewer mental frames per second. As adults, children process more images per second of real time. That's why, to a kid, adults seem to move through the world in slow motion. Fewer frames recorded means, in hindsight, less footage. And less footage always feels like less time. You've felt this mechanism in reverse, by the way. In a car accident, or a bad fall, time seems to stretch. That's your brain panic recording everything, maximum frames per second, because it might need the footage to survive. One researcher, David Eagleman, dropped volunteers from a 15-story tower into a net to test this. The fall took under 3 seconds. Every single volunteer estimated it lasted far longer. Fear had thickened time. Which reveals the actual rule, the one this entire video is about: attention is the currency of time. Time isn't something that happens to you, it's something your brain builds, out of whatever you bothered to notice. And this is where it gets hopeful. Because if time speeds up due to routine, routine has an off switch. People who move to a new country report that their first year there feels enormous. Longer than the 5 years before it. Not because more time passed. Because more time got recorded. Novelty forced the camera back on. You don't need to move countries. Studies on memory density show even small novelty works. A different route home. A skill you're bad at. A conversation with a stranger. Each one forces your brain to actually write something down. The days you remember are the days you were bad at something new. The days you forget are the days everything went smoothly. Which means comfort, the thing we optimize our entire lives for, is the very thing deleting our time. A smooth, frictionless, perfectly routine life doesn't just feel short. In the only way that matters, in memory, it is short. So the equation is simple, and a little brutal. Novelty stretches time. Routine erases it. Your next decade can feel like 2 years, or like 20. Same calendar. Same clock, different choices. The clock isn't speeding up. You just stopped recording. Press record.